Good morning, Nisam Bulabinaka. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Madam Speaker, I would like to thank His Excellency the President for his words of wisdom when opening Parliament last week. In a time when the voices of sedition threaten our young democracy, His Excellency's words are a clear reminder that the way for all Fijians is forward, not backward. That attitude and spirit was in vivid demonstration over the weekend by none other than our national rugby team when they played England at the opening match of the 2015 Rugby World Cup in Twickenham. And I wish to congratulate the Flying Fijians for making us proud at that opening game. Although the final score of that match did not really reflect the close on-field battle and intensity of the game, the valiant efforts of the Fijian team and display of world-class rugby showcased to the world our die-hard spirit. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, our team was playing against 16 on the field. It is the same spirit of team unity and hard work that also lifted the Japanese side in a historical upset win over the favoured South African Springboks side. Madam Speaker, if there's a lesson that we in this Honourable House can learn from those two Rugby World Cup games over the weekend, it is that our past record should not determine our future or destination. When we keep our eyes on the future and look ahead to brighter, better days, we in this House can no doubt give our people much cause for hope and celebration. Madam Speaker, as a true leader, His Excellency rallied all Fijians to a common cause, and I thank His Excellency for reiterating the vision for our Fiji, the new Fiji, a safe and prosperous Fiji where all Fijians are equal. Allow me, Madam Speaker, to also join His Excellency in congratulating the Supervisor of Elections and his hard-working team at the Fijian Elections Office, who last week celebrated the first anniversary of the 2014 general elections. All Fijians should be proud of this accomplishment. As His Excellency pointed out, the 2014 Fijian general elections are now being used as a benchmark in other counties, and the Supervisor of Elections is lending his expertise monitoring elections throughout the region. Madam Speaker, as we approach the conclusion of His Excellency's term in office as President of the Republic of Fiji, it is only proper that we acknowledge a life that has given so much selfless service to the Fijian people. Today, we express our deepest gratitude to His Excellency, the First Lady, and members of his family for sharing this exemplary leadership with us in the public service for Fiji and its people. His Excellency's term in office was some of the most difficult and testing 6 years, but through it all, and in the conduct of his onerous duty, he displayed leadership, courage, fortitude, conviction, and compassion. He will be remembered for his common touch and humility, despite his high traditional chiefly status in Fiji. I know I speak on behalf of all Fijians as I thank His Excellency for his years of service to Fiji. He is indeed, Madam Speaker, a true son of Fiji, a patriot, an example of selfless service to our young and old alike. As a soldier, military commander, diplomat and senior civil servant, cabinet minister and speaker to the Parliament, His Excellency has always put the needs of Fiji before his own. He never lost a common touch with the Fijian people he so dutifully served in high office. His Excellency's advocacy work for HIV/AIDS awareness is well known throughout Fiji, the region, and indeed throughout the world. Madam Speaker, last week His Excellency spoke of the solid foundation of our democracy, the 2013 Constitution. Our Bill of Rights provides, in addition to political and civil liberties, unprecedented code of social and economic rights and privileges for all Fijians. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Madam Speaker, has identified the relevant international instruments that support government's efforts towards the continuing realization of rights enumerated in the Constitution. Madam Speaker, the assent of Parliament for the ratification of the UN Convention Against Torture is one such example. Madam Speaker, tonight I'll be heading to New York to participate in this year's UN General Assembly, where the seminal 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is to be adopted. There I will highlight the leadership role that Fiji has enjoyed under the Fiji First government to ensure that the Sustainable Development Goal 14 to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas and marine resources is being implemented properly, especially given the importance of the ocean and its resources for future generations of Fijians. Fiji is a founding member of the ambassadorial group of Friends of Oceans and Seas, and we are a leading advocate of creating a triennial summit on oceans and seas that would oversee the implementation of Goal 14. Madam Speaker, we are working towards hosting the first such summit in Fiji in 2017. In Geneva, our Fijian mission is taking the lead at the World Trade Organization to negotiate new disciplines to regulate fisheries subsidies. In London, we are doubling down on resource and emission concerns in the International Maritime Organization. Madam Speaker, His Excellency rightfully pointed out that the Constitution has been formally established as our supreme law, which all members of this Honourable House have sworn to uphold. Madam Speaker, one wonders at times whether certain members of the opposition share His Excellency's sentiments. He also reiterated the need for a Constitution Day, as all Fijians deserve to understand and celebrate the stability the Constitution provides in shaping a beloved Fiji. Our Constitution is the legal framework for genuine democracy and genuine opportunity for all, crafted to meet all relevant international legal standards. Madam Speaker, the Fiji First Government has refined the Look North policy to a focused, proactive, transparent and innovative foreign policy framework. Fiji has extended its diplomatic footprint globally to engage new partners in our development, and we are witnessing the benefits of these new relationships today. Madam Speaker, we have earned the highest respect of the global community because of the principles which governs the conduct of our foreign policy engagement. Friends to all, enemy to none. We believe in the sovereign equality of all states, no matter how small they may be. We respect the rights of sovereign states to decide for themselves their own development goals. In the last 5 years, Madam Speaker, Fiji's international image has grown significantly. Fiji became the chair of the Group 77 plus China at the United Nations and is recognized as one of the nations leading the fight against climate change in the international arena. We are also continuing our engagement efforts by seeking membership of the UN Human Rights Council in 2017. In doing so, Fiji will contribute to the global agenda and governance of human rights, promoting the high standards we have set for ourselves in the global arena. Madam Speaker, after wide consultation with all government departments and relevant stakeholders, a revised foreign policy statement for the next 5 years was developed and adopted. This statement will inform the strategic plans of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to transition Fiji's international relations in all areas of engagement. In the next phase of our policy, government will focus its attention toward increasing trade and investment for Fiji through a continued engagement. Fiji will continue to observe the principle of bilateralism as its core policy. We will respect the sovereign rights and independence of states, and Fiji will continue to help those in need all over the world as we have done over the years through our UN peacekeeping efforts. Madam Speaker, the Fiji First Government will continue to highlight the importance of climate change action in international forums, from settings as diverse as our recently concluded Pacific Islands Development Forum to the UN Human Rights Council and the World Trade Organization and the International Organization on Migration. Indeed, we believe it is the role of Fiji and other frontline states to advocate for international action on environmentally induced migration or climate refugees. Our advocacy goes beyond the mandate of negotiations of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, in which Fiji is an active participant. This is an urgent issue and in line with the principle of human dignity outlined in our Constitution. As a small island developing state, Fiji sits at the leading edge of the destructive impact of climate change. Madam Speaker, the Suva Declaration on Climate Change is a very powerful statement of our intentions. We refuse to be silenced, and we are pressing the industrialized nation to reduce their pollution to negligible levels. With this declaration, Fiji will lead the charge of Pacific nations and a coalition of like-minded nations and international partners at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change in Paris, the COP21 in December. We have the knowledge, ability, and capacity to deal with the issue of climate change by showing the commitment, resolve, and in providing high-profile political leadership to champion this cause. Our government is seeking to preserve a safe and prosperous future for our young people. Madam Speaker, as we continue to invest in our future, it is incumbent upon us in this Honourable House to act responsibly to preserve the quality of life and to leave a legacy for our children tomorrow. We must be determined to leave them the best we can. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and God bless Fiji.